It is Thursday at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us for another Wedding Film School live show. We're excited for another week of some awesome submissions that we're going to review for you guys, from you guys. And I'm joined today, as always, by Jay. Jay, how's it going?
It sounds like you got a little cold there, Bobby.
I don't feel like I do. Maybe eventually.
Maybe you didn't have your coffee yet. Or like...
I did have my coffee. I went out. I bought a 5-pound bag of coffee from a local roaster. I'm on it today, Jay.
That's good. That's good because we have some serious films to review, but also some wonderful news to give everyone in the wedding filmmaking community, our viewers, of course, but really everyone, because I think this next thing we're going to talk about, everyone would find interesting, right, Bobby?
Totally.
So next week we are going to have a special Wedding Film School live with, obviously we can debate this across the, but maybe not the best wedding filmmaker alive, but one of the best wedding filmmakers at least, right, Bobby?
In the conversation, for sure. I think, at a certain point it becomes personal preference and people will, pick and choose accordingly or whatever. But the films speak for themselves, that's for
Yes.
sure. And the
Yep.
business speaks for itself, and the awards and accolades speak for themselves. And yet, despite all of that, one of the most genuine and humble people uh, that I think exists in the industry, and especially at that level.
Yeah, so we got Alex Douglas from Sculpting with Time, and I don't know if Whitney, his wife slash also business partner, is going to be joining us. But Alex Douglas, Sculpting with Time, he's going to be coming on. He's going to be playing a new film that I'm not sure if he's released it yet. It might be the very first time he's showing it to people, which is really cool honor for us. And he's going to be doing a little bit of breakdown. We're going to ask a few questions, kind of get the behind the scenes, behind the mind of somebody who's as brilliant as he is. And then, of course, we're going to be watching the film and having him give a little bit of critique as he watches his own film. I'm really excited about it.
It should be good. We've had him. Well, we've had both of them on.
In the past,
once,
we've done things
twice
with them
before, a couple times. Yeah. So always, like you said, it's always really interesting to have somebody who's creating at that level, and who is a part of these. What I think for a lot of people would be end goal types of weddings, right? Like,
Yep.
I mean, it kind of is the end goal, even if you wanted more.
There's not really much
isn't
else you
bigger,
can go
right?
up
Yeah.
into.
in the wedding world.
Yeah, you're kind of like at the top of the game, and he's at the top of the game, I think, just in terms of the types of weddings they're doing. So there's a lot to learn there. Destination, there's a lot to learn there.
Yep.
But then it's this incredible cinematography and what they're able to
Totally.
do.
And just like I like the idea, Jay, like you said, the like mindset behind it. I think that's what's really important and interesting. Like there are other people who do these huge weddings, maybe, not too many people, obviously, but the way that Alex and Whitney approach a wedding, the way they approach an edit, like that is somebody who is really just a master at their craft. And so always enjoy having him on. We're gonna get some cool it's going to be a fun time, and I think you all will get a lot out of it. So that will be next week.
And they can ask questions. That's the cool part.
True. Yep. Giving you some cool access. So yeah, next week, right at
Next week,
Thursday,
we'll do
at
it right at the
1
normal
p.m.
time.
Normal time. So make sure to put it on your calendars. What's up, Aiden? What's up, Grant? What's up, Goran? Thank you all for being here. Without further ado, Jay, should we get into a...
Yes, I'm going to go
wedding?
play a film right. I'm going to
right.
get this film loaded up. But why don't you tell everybody about who our first filmmaker is today?
So this is coming from Isaac Snowden of Snowden Films, and the info that Isaac provided is shot on a Canon RP with the 28 to 72.8. Does not... Wait.
What is that?
Did we already do this?
Maybe we did. I checked
This was
it.
the one that said I didn't shoot raw, and so coloring was hard. I feel like we had
Maybe
that
that one we did do. I was clicking on it and I didn't notice it, but maybe my brain is just so warped from...
Yeah, we did this.
Well, then
Okay,
let's
we're
go to the
gonna move
next
on.
one. Sorry, dude. Gentle.
Isaac, if that got you really excited, and I know we had emailed you, we emailed people this time. Crazy.
Yeah, we
haven't
actually
done
told
that forever. If that got you really excited, go watch last week's stream because we reviewed that last week. All right, so this one is coming from Michael Olesko of Michael Olesko Films, and this one is interesting. We had a couple submitted by Michael, and we chose this one for the kind of extra layer, extra ripple. But shot on the Canon C100 Mark II and Canon 6D. Emotional day for the bride. She had lost her father. Sorry, my phone is ringing and it blasted my headphones. Lost her father early in her life, and so she was raised by her stepdad. Visited her birth father's gravestone on the day. And then also the pastor made a mistake during the vows and removed his microphone, the videographer's microphone, Michael's microphone, thinking that it was the church speaker system. And yeah, there we go.
There we go.
There's more to it. I'm always trying to like in the moment summarize. I
Well,
feel
and
like
also it's one of those things where it's like sometimes things are maybe not as important.
Snowden Films is in the chat. Yeah, sorry. We reviewed you last week. We like to say that we email people if we're going to review them. We aren't good at actually doing that. We probably haven't done that in months. And then we did email you today.
Yes.
You're on top of it, so apologies.
You know what,
but
though? If you submit a film that you want us to review now, and we'll do our very best to get to it.
Yeah, if you have another film. Also, I will tell you, Isaac, you were the second film of 3 in last week's stream, if that helps you find the timing on that.
Yes. Very cool.
All right.
Okay, let me just
it.
pull up this other thingy thing. And yeah, I don't know what this platform is that he's streaming on. What is it? But it's a little different. Here we go. Okay, so as always, guys, here's how we kind of do this. We do.
Oh, I think that's called Vimeo.
No, it wasn't Vimeo. It was like maybe it was a video embed.
It's
on
a Vimeo
page.
link. Yeah, it's got to be a Vimeo embed.
It looks different. Like this is a different looking page. Like what is this? Have you ever seen this?
Well, that player is definitely Vimeo.
The player's Vimeo, but this right here is like anyway. It's probably Vimeo. I just never use Vimeo in that way. Anyway. We try to do about 2 minutes, maybe a little more if we have something we want to kind of dig into, but at least 2 minutes of the film. Typically, if you want us to review the whole film, up to 5, but really up to 6. We're kind of flexible here. It's for membership. So we would encourage you, become a member of the channel. It helps us so much. It's really the only way we monetize this channel, except for maybe ad revenue. But in general, if you want to support wedding filmmaking education and you want to support Bobby, Jared, and myself and help us make content like this, then become a member, even if you don't want to submit films. But if you are a member, you get priority reviews and the full film reviews and a little bit more.
You have a cool green name and a logo in chat.
Okay, here we go.
Aiden's saying this video is 4 years old. Not his video, though. Probably saw it on the featured info or something. Is this a teaser? Looks
no, it's... I wouldn't call a 3-minute video a teaser. Let's just watch the whole
It's
thing.
really great to be here at last. It's a privilege for all of us to be here and to listen to this moment of promise.
Wait, these are different people.
To be supportive.
Right? I'm really confused.
Did I click on the wrong video?
Wait, no. Just go back like 10 seconds. Sorry. I would love to say that we're going to just... But, okay, those two people in the
Here
sunny...
at last.
Okay, hold on.
It's a privilege for all of us to be here.
That's different people.
To this moment of promise.
What is this? What is this? What is going on here?
What is this?
What is going on here?
Did you... Wait, you clicked the wrong thing. You went to what he listed as his website.
That's why it looked funny. Oh, hey.
We are starting off with a bang here, guys. We're 0 for 2 so far.
You know...
I see the box you have highlighted.
Well, it's also... Sorry, that's not a website. Just feedback on 101. Get a real website. I run a website company. I'm happy to make one for you. For money, but we will make one. Here we go. My fault. But also
definitely 2 different people. Is that the dad? And I was like, well, they just kissed, so I don't think so.
So Tiffy, 2 names.
They're a very close family.
Tiffy SK. Why would anybody choose to have 2 last names? Well, when Tiff was...
It's peeking out in the video, guys, not on ours. Just FYI. So you don't need to tell me it's peeking out because it's not us.
6 months old, her father, John Saletta, passed away. So... Okay. Tiff never got to know her birth dad. 4 years later, Mary and I were married. And shortly after that, Tiff and Stephanie asked me if they could call me Dad. One of the greatest honors of my life.
I wonder if you can... did he say what camera he's using again?
I believe it was C100 Mark II and a 6D. Yep.
What is that? The artifacts I'm seeing. I wonder if that's me or what that is. But anyway.
In order to honor her dad in
Oh,
heaven,
you don't have the...
they kept the Saletta name.
The video
And in
on
order
stream, Jay.
for us all to be
Oops.
one family, they added the Kerrigan name.
Sorry. It's hard to produce and
So
star in a
Tiffy's
show
two
at the
names.
same time.
Tiff...
You guys are lucky I can do it at all.
Tiffy SK. Why would anybody choose to have two last names? Well, when Tiff was 6 months old, her father, John,
Here, let's just skip a little bit because we don't need to hear that again.
in order to honor her dad in heaven, they kept the Soletta name. And in order for us all to be one family, they added the Kerrigan name. So we had Tiffany Joe Soletta Kerrigan.
I'm seeing it throughout the film, so I'm just wondering if it's an export thing or what that is, but like maybe it's sharpening, maybe it's too much film grain added.
To me, yeah, it looks like there's some kind of like layer or something. It
But
does, to me, I think it's sharpening. Look at like the cupboards in the foreground. Like those, it's so.
Well, and also I'm looking at
unnatural.
like, not to be weird, but I'm looking at her leg and I'm seeing like a,
Yeah.
almost like a,
Well, you have a better version of it too, but yeah.
I'm seeing like a striation, kind of like when you look at like a 8-bit shot of the sky and you see the striping. I see it throughout the film. So yeah, first feedback, whatever that is.
Well, let's hop along. We'll add it to our list.
Yeah, I'm going to, let's see. Where do you want to go, Bobby?
I want to see the beginning of the ceremony. I think it's like around there, probably. Yeah, let's go right there.
Yeah, there it is.
V2 name.
Just kidding.
I do like he included that story though.
Yeah.
Tony, I promise to choose you every day of my life. I promise to love you forever without condition and to be faithful to you. I promise to support and encourage your every dream. And
Did I just miss this? Like sometimes I just zone out when I'm watching these. Did she just? She didn't walk down the aisle,
Not yet,
but now she's at the.
but maybe eventually.
oh, I will always be your biggest fan.
Am I just too rigid about
I
that?
promise to compromise when compromise is needed. Like when the White Sox
I
are
don't
playing
know.
and I really want to watch HGTV. I promise to always keep our marriage light and fun and to always dance with you in the kitchen. I promise to grow old with you in mind and body. I promise to dream with you and to pray with you. I promise to always cherish the man you are. And I promise to always keep God in our relationship, and I truly believe God knew I always needed you in my life.
Okay, here we go.
I love that when there are struggles, you never let me face them alone. I love that our relationship has always been so easy and simple since the start.
I'm just trying to like
Get a feel for the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
guys,
trying to
you only
see,
watch
like-
2 minutes if it's not a member.
Here it
if
is.
You're not a member. I'm not a huge stickler on that. We can have a conversation about it.
if you're wondering why, it's we want to get to as many of you guys as possible. And so if you don't like it, then let us know. We'll do less films, but this allows us to get to more films. And honestly, if we have to watch the whole film, this is not a rip on anybody, but some
yeah.
people's films are not worth watching the whole thing. Not because they're bad or we want to disrespect people because we appreciate their submissions, but because like everything that they can learn and that we can learn
to necessarily to be able to give some feedback.
We get a ton of like 11-minute long films and a lot of stuff like that. We'd rather be able to look at some of what they do and give them some feedback than to just tell everyone you have to submit a 5-minute film. If everybody submitted 4 or 5-minute films, we'd probably watch the whole thing of everything. But since there's such a wide range, this is just honestly, I remember we had the same issue at WPPI when we did the film submissions. Is like the fact that you can make any length film you want is actually challenging.
I've got a link for you for submitting Springtide.
I like this part. Okay, let's just see if this ever gives
let's
any.
see party or
It
any
doesn't go
energy.
party, so let's just kind of watch how they chose to end it. Oh, no, no, no. All right. I think I
So I
can.
just hit my mic. Sorry for everybody.
I love that. It was so cool. Great job. All right, Bobby. What did you like about the film?
Okay. I like the incorporation of the, I guess let's call it the storyline of the father and the stepfather. I do have a comment and something I would do different about that, but I think it is I don't want to call it a curveball, but it's something that you don't get at every wedding. And so it's an extra, it's an extra thing to pay attention to and worry about and think about. And so I think that in a general sense, from like a story perspective, it was handled well. I actually think kind of the like story is maybe your strong point, which is interesting, Jay. I think a lot of times we have, and maybe you totally disagree with me on this, but I think, comparing kind of the editing and then kind of like the story building and then kind of the shooting, I think the story was kind of stronger than the others.
Well,
And a
I
lot
was
of
going to
times we
say
have
the same thing.
opposite.
I think but also weirdly, like, I think it was a strong and a big weak point because there's a couple really strange things that they chose to do. But I think the idea that they had like what they chose to include and what they perceived as important about the day and important about the couple is right on.
Yeah, and that's where I think story and editing are different.
For sure.
Like there are choices in the edit where I am like, no, this is not the right choice.
Sure. And
But
I think we could maybe reflect on that a little when we get to critique is like that kind of convergence of story and editing. But I agree.
I like that. And then I really liked okay, the handheld aspect of it, not as much, but the wide shot at the cemetery I thought was cool. And this getting into a critique kind of, I wish we would have only had that shot. Because the close-up was not really a nice looking shot, first of all. It has like the bus and some cars behind it, whatever. But this shot right here,
stabilized.
This is like a cool, stable. Well, like that's a separate issue we're gonna talk about, or I'm gonna talk about it. But like this is, you are removed as the viewer. It's like letting them have this space, and it very clearly shows what's happening without like being. It like lets that moment breathe, and I really like that shot. I wish, like I said, it would have just stayed on that and only been that shot.
I would 100% agree with you, except I know for a fact the couple would complain if you did that.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm just like,
But I agree with you. From a standpoint of like story impact, I agree with you. So I would also echo what you said in terms of what I liked about the film, which is, I kind of already said it. I think they chose a strong narrative emphasis. That made the film have impact, and I think it was special to the bride.
Yep, yeah, really catered to, like, this is a great example of catering to the couple's story. A lot of times you're like, well, they seem bubbly and fun, and the video reflected that, but it's like, this is like another layer of that.
Yeah, so I'm going to get right into the critiques, because I want to, like, seam it together, because to me, the strength was also a bit of a weakness in a couple key ways. The first way, which I know we rushed through some stuff, but I've seen enough of these films to kind of know, and I could see. I think in order to make it not all about this dad passing away, which is something you have to be sensitive to when you include elements like this.
Yeah.
I think it's too heavy. I don't think it includes their story well enough, and I think it should have been a aspect of the film and not the entire film. Like, it's literally like the beginning, the middle, the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's every single part of the film is that she had a dad that she never met that died.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
It's a fine line between, you need to latch on to, what is important to this couple? What is interesting about this couple? What is their story? And that is part of their story, right?
Yeah.
But it is a fine line between latching onto that and doing it justice in the narrative or in the package of a wedding day versus making it, like, towing the line between it not being a wedding film anymore, almost.
Yes, it needs to, like, I don't even know anything about this groom. Or their story, really. I mean, he talks a little bit. He talks a little, like, right here. He's kind of, because I did watch it a little beforehand, and, like, he does say some stuff. But I just think, just in terms of it's anytime you bring in a dead loved one, which is always it's important and it's special, but you got to know it carries a really heavy. I'll just show you a little bit of what he said, just so you know.
Yeah. At me across the aisle.
I'm probably gonna need help too. So,
But it's kind
I
of
see
like
what he was saying about the mics thing.
yeah, I don't think it's that important, really. So
I actually think it helped him probably, and you should be miking the groom.
yes,
And
yeah.
you got off easy because the priest screwed up and handed your mic to the groom.
I think it's just an editing thing too. I don't think you need to hear the groom talk a lot. I just think like
I think
finding
it's for vows or whatever.
yeah, or like people's toasts, like someone gets up and says like, you guys are so great, you know, like kind of including some of that stuff. So the other thing I think is the very non-linear kind of way that he story told, which was also very linear. So there's this like dual story timelines happening where like one of them was very much like, first this girl walks down the aisle, then this guy walks, and then the ceremony happens, and then the ceremony's over. In the middle of it, there's all this reception footage, and I'm like, did you not shoot a dance party? Like,
Yeah,
is there no
like there's
portrait?
something missing here.
There's no portraits. Like what? Like, it's like it
You know
felt
what
empty.
I wonder, Jay? You know what this feels like to me? I could be totally wrong. This is just a guess. This to me feels like somebody who
6 hours of coverage. That's what I think.
Yup, who sold a 6 hour coverage and it's the day needed 10.
Yep. That's why I say, guys, this is not a rule. This is our philosophy. I don't mind charging by the hour, but you shouldn't have a minimum that's small enough that you can actually tell the whole story. And I don't think any wedding filmmaker should have a 6 hour package. It just literally, you can't
Maybe an
build
elopement or something.
Yeah,
Even though
yeah,
I
that's
feel
true.
like for elopements, I end up with it's like longer days usually, but yeah.
At the end of the day, man, too, it's just, I've just learned like a wedding is an opportunity.
Yep.
So I think
Make a
there
great
wasn't enough.
film, make great connections and get great advertising off of it.
But I did find myself like, I'm watching this and I'm like, wait, whoa, Bobby died. What happened there? We're going to join that thing again. But while we're doing that, I would say I did find that it was a little bit kind of like a I gotta fix this. Sorry, guys. I think what happened is I used the wrong Zoom account and then we ran out of time or something. But I'm gonna send him another link to this. Oh, this is great content. Yeah, but I thought it was a good film, and I honestly think at the end of the day, if you're making stuff like this, you really got to really consider, like, how do I have a little balance with my story? Because the issues that you're expressing, they're really important. They're really, really heavy. And at the end of the day, I think the film needed a little more lightness. And also you can see this connection between the couple that you have in the film. And I think at the end of the day too, like you didn't really show it as much as I think I would have liked to have seen it and would have felt really, really good to show. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I honestly think the sharpening that I see in this film, I'll put it up there. There's a ton of like artifacting too, so I might say like maybe kind of consider that. And then the last thing I was going to point out, which is a really seemingly small detail, but I think this is what really great wedding filmmaking is all about, is like noticing the details. And I noticed there's a couple of shots, like this is a really basic one. I hate that about the Vimeo scroll. there's a couple of shots of like pictures and things like that where it's just not it's not very like the picture's out of focus a little bit, and or like kind of not in the frame. It's like just loose, and then some really noisy footage, just like lots of little details that I think you can really clean up in your film. But so I'm gonna get Bobby this link, guys, so bear with my unprofessional self, and then we'll get back to the normal stream. There's a link. There's a link. And then we're good to go. Sorry, guys. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good day, by the way. How many weddings you guys got coming up? Who started their season already? That's the question I have. Because I think we're starting our season in a couple weeks. I sent Bobby over the link, and we'll get going. But we're going to look at our next film while we're loading that up for Bobby. And our next film is coming from, I'd say, Michael or Harry. I don't know how this last name is pronounced. Mitke. His company's called A New Odyssey. And this is what they say. Shot on Lumix S1H and S2 S52s in Tulum, Mexico. 2-day destination wedding. Solid day, no issues with the day. But we're looking for tips to make our films more memorable and exciting, especially with our desire to focus on destination weddings. They want feedback. Take us to the next level. So, I'm going to play the film, and then we'll get Bobby on while we're doing that. And that'll be that. Great content, though. Sorry, guys. Well, I like this.
And I truly hope that's going to go that way.
Go back to the beginning.
I want it to be the best weekend of your life, and I truly hope that's going to go that way.
What do you think?
I love it. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's perfect. We're married.
Marriage is a sacred union, a partnership of trust, love, and support. Today we celebrate you not only for the love you have for each other, but also the promises that you make to continue building your future together.
My love, my life changed forever from the moment that I met you 5 years ago. Every piece of our story proves that you and I were created for each other. Every hardship has only brought us closer together.
We are so excited to be a part of your beautiful love story in this breathtaking.
You're back, Bobby.
I'm back.
Sorry about that. We had a little Zoom crash. But this one is in Tulum, Mexico. Yeah. And they're partying.
Tropical paradise. True love is the basic pattern of the universe. A divine marriage is a symbol of the marriage of heaven and earth.
My love, we met just about 5 years ago now. Since the moment I met you, Since the moment I started dating you, I knew you're the one for me.
My daughter. Your radiant beauty inside and out brings so much to the world. This is the moment in time when your journey is bound to another. Having someone by your side who supports your dream and aspirations while you support their dreams too is the beauty of a deep and loving marriage.
Anyone that knows Jason knows that he's not only generous and kind, but how his enthusiasm for life is infectious.
Okay, I'm going to push forward a little bit.
It's a stability and comfort. It's a love that knows no bounds, sees past imperfections, and shines even in the darkest times. Your love story is a testament to the power of true love. And it's a story that continues to unfold with each path.
Every time I see a groomsman do that, I want to... Oh, I hate it. What is that called? What is that called? The
Flower man or
the flower. Oh, it's no offense, couple. But yeah, it's not my favorite.
I promise you to always love you, be there for you, be the best husband you could ever ask for, and the greatest father for amazing kids. I will always love you, protect you, and be as loyal to you as anyone could possibly be. I love you with all my heart.
This is a loving couple that you just wish and admire to aspire to be.
They have a lot of really nice establishing shots. Let's go over to the party a little bit.
This is a special moment in all our lives that brings memories filled with celebration.
Okay, let's do this one. So you only missed like 10 seconds of it, Bobby. So I think you can speak towards it. What do you like about this film, and where do you what do you think they did well?
One thing that really stood out to me is like it's interesting. Man, we got some interesting ones. I think like some of the strong points of the shooting here is the establishing shots, the I don't want to say venue, but where we are. They did a great job showing that. Right,
That's
and
a cool
then
shot,
also
too.
like the I came in during what I'm going to call the intro of this film, right? First, I don't know, 30 seconds, 1 minute, something like that.
That's the first shot.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of like kind of where we are, like dancing stuff, and then like just moments like that. I don't know what you would call that, right? So those I think are all really shot quite well, and I think that's something that a lot of filmmakers will not forget about, but it's like you can tell somebody who's like they put all their creative energy into the romantic session and that's it. You know what I mean? And so I like the incorporation both in the edit and the shooting of some of these other things. And I'm trying to think of something else. I missed a lot.
I mean, it's a lot of decent shooting, and like that's that's important.
Overall, I feel like and all that to say is like a lot of the other stuff all pretty solid. You know what I mean? Like the edit I thought was good. Like there are some changes I would make that I'll get into. Again, just my personal opinion. The drone stuff was beautiful.
Hold on, that could have been just that was probably a contractor in Mexico because they're pretty strict over there. Maybe not.
Oh,
We'll just say
that, but
exactly. No one has ever done that.
That's what I've heard.
I've heard that, but we would never do that.
I also think that I will say I'm sure this was multi-day, so you had a lot of footage, which is awesome. But I think you got a really good feel of like the couple came here, they wanted this to be like a party. I think that really came across. Like I really do feel like you kind of catered it around who the couple is.
Yeah,
like,
and their friend groups too.
Yeah, they cared about each other. They were very genuine people, but like they were there to like just have fun for 3 days and like I don't know, like they like it didn't seem like they took themselves like too seriously, while they obviously had some serious moments and some nice vows and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It was,
and I would say this,
it had the right feel.
that is the crux of one of my biggest critiques about this film. And so I agree with you, but I think what you portrayed visually was very on point. I think there's a lot of nice like you said, there's a great establishing shots, great sense of place, great sense of community, who the people are, a good sense of even the sequence and how it flowed out, and solid portrait work throughout the film. I think at the end of the day, this is a well executed, well done film. And especially, I know Destination is not all it's cracked up to be. A lot of it really sucks. And it's hard to do. You don't have great conditions all the time. And you, for the most part, I think did a good job with this. So a couple critiques I have. First of all, I think the white balance on your ceremony in the shadows is really bad.
That whole, I honestly think, I think we talked about this, Jay, last time, of like, we want to see the ceremony coverage because we feel like
it's hard.
It's hard. And this, I will say, this is a very tough ceremony setup to shoot. You are about as backlit as you can get while in the shade, right? You don't have aisles, I don't think, on the outsides of anybody. It doesn't look like it, right? You only have that middle aisle. This is a very tough ceremony, in my opinion, but it has to be better at this level of wedding.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, it doesn't even, we don't even have the wide shot where you have the triangle and the couple starting from the back, like the nice push. Like, there's so many shots. I'm like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?
Yeah.
Like, but the other thing is you got if you're wanting to go to that next level, you have to be able to nail this stuff. And like, these people should not all be blue. Right. Yeah. And like, in my opinion, I would have probably maybe drop the exposure a little bit and maybe I don't know. I probably would have had my 270-200s exposed perfectly well on their faces, but my wide shot, I probably would have underexposed a little bit so I could bring in that ocean. But it's tough. That's a tough situation.
Jay, that right there is one, like, for those who have watched this many times, right? This show or watch other things, I don't shoot log ever.
I would be shooting log on this.
That is one of the few scenarios where I would be switching to log on every camera that can do it for me.
Me too. Yeah. And the issue too is also just deciding what you're giving up. I think is the mistake a lot of people make is they try to split the difference, and sometimes that's the right call, but a lot of times you just have to decide, like, I'm going to give up my highlights or I'm going to give up my shadows, and they kind of tried to play it in the middle, and I think that wasn't the right call.
Yeah.
But also just, you got to white balance it properly.
Yeah.
Like okay, so that's one.
It would certainly be better if it wasn't so blue.
That just always bothers me. It's easy to white balance your footage. It needs to be white balanced. Like, that is a mark of a pro. Everything is perfectly white balanced. I don't think that's a standard too high. I think they need more wide shooting. They need a wider lens, especially like you're seeing those things explode, and maybe like that. There's a lot of nice wide shots, but I think a little bit more will do you. I felt like they needed like the biggest thing I thought about the film that in terms of like beyond the shooting was this song right here.
Is this the party song?
Aspire to be one day.
The party song for me, no go.
No go. And here's the biggest thing I think. These people are party animals.
This is a big, like, any wedding's a party. Well, not every wedding. Some are very reserved. But this wedding, in the world of weddings, is a party wedding. They are in Tulum. They are, like, that dance floor is packed.
And like, just even look at the people. These people go to the club. They probably, these are the type of couple that you meet them and you're like, how did you guys meet? And they're like, and then like talk about like, oh, we're doing jello shots or something. Like, they're party people. And like, you lean into that. Give this film their energy. Give it their energy.
This song needs some energy. It needs a beat. It needs some drive.
The cut,
it's too, like
this thing should feel a little drunker, a little more, just more of that energy. And instead, we're having this like very like YouTube-y kind of generic song, and then like even like the toast clip they used at the second half, where the dad's talking and he's like, and this is just a very special day. In the middle of people partying.
I like the party shots. I like the dad's speech.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit over each other.
Well, it's the biggest thing is it's a missed opportunity because this film could be like hype.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to go back and watch some of Henry Martin's Mexico stuff. And
man, even go back to like, you can go way back on some of his work.
Back in the day when him and Stanton were shooting together.
Yeah.
And
I always remember his like Antigua film. That was one of his big like hype dance floors.
But he did a bunch of Mexico stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have done like this kind of stuff. I would check it out. I don't think you should copy it or whatever.
No,
but like
no.
I think like it encapsulates that energy, and I think we could have maybe done a similar thing. And then, you know, just a little thing is just the noise. The shadows are kind of noisy, and maybe work on that a little. But good film. Good film.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have too much to add. I kind of chimed in. I think Jay and I had a lot of the same stuff. I would say the only thing that I would add on top of it is like when we were talking about the ceremony, I kind of already shared my thoughts, but Jay pointed out the skin of kind of these guests, right, were too blue. And I agree with that. I would also say I don't even like those shots being in there. I don't think they were very good shots.
They're not great.
A shot of the bridesmaids, shot of the groomsmen, shot of the like guests, and like the camera movement didn't seem very intentional, and the like framing didn't seem very intentional, and you seemed awfully close to them because I think you were. I think you had cameras up front, which again, that's just a byproduct of a really tough ceremony setup. But I wouldn't even include that. So that's my only additional thing. But yeah, really good film. I think it gets like I think the couple will love it. Obviously, one thing, Jay. So they did this for free.
Great.
To boost their, destination work.
Yeah, you should re-edit it then.
You should be making the most out of this for you if you did it for free. But one of the things that they said is they're looking for any feedback on taking it to the next level, and I feel like we kind of touched on that.
Yep.
And what they should charge for this kind of coverage. So that's kind of tough.
I would say you should be.
You can go first.
You should be around that. First of all, I have no idea the market you're in, and you have to. Destination is
destination.
Well, I mean, like, what type of planner you're working with, what type of clientele, where are you in terms of the people who are calling you, like.
Let's say it's the couple only, being like, "Hey, I know these people."
My opinion is you should always charge the same for everything.
Yeah.
Why does it cost more? It's just more days of
mine
coverage.
Doesn't change.
Mine's
days of coverage too. My guess is this was 2 or 3 days. I mean, I don't know how many shooters you bring. I don't know if those are full days. They probably aren't. One of them probably is.
The way you should charge for destination work, if you want to charge a premium, I don't have a problem with that. I know people who do that. You are going to get less.
I charge more for destination because it's more work for me.
You're not charging more, really. You're just sending a bigger bill.
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
But like that doesn't mean like it's the same price. They're just getting more coverage.
Yeah,
and they have to pay for more travel.
Yep.
And typically those couples will be bigger invoices too because a lot of them want to maximize their investment, so they might get more videos and all that junk. But like I don't really see why you should overcomplicate it at the beginning. If you're just starting out and you have a business and you have packages that are established already, just charge the same thing, but just say like, okay, this is 3 days of that. And if you want to give a little break for consecutive days of coverage, sometimes people do that. I've seen people who go like, oh, it's 2 days. My single day is $6,000. My 2 days are $4,000 or $10,000.
Yeah, my second day is like $4,000.
You know, but I said,
and my travel expenses.
Plus your expenses,
hotel and whatever.
Per diem and whatever it is. Like, I don't think you should be thinking, this is so good. How good should this, or this is bad, or whatever it is. This is, that's how much it's worth.
Yeah, you're taking yourself out of the market aspect, right? Because it's destination. So it's not like, oh, I'm in Kansas City versus I'm in New York City, right?
You should always charge as much as you possibly can charge. Everyone should be doing that. And the real question is, how much can you charge? And it has a little bit to do with your quality, because clearly if it's good, people will be willing to pay more for it. And if you're experienced and you have a name, clearly there's value to that. Yeah, but it's not about like if you're one of the top wedding filmmakers in the world, you're charging $30,000 because you can.
Yeah, you know what this person should do, Jay? They should go listen to the hours and hours and hours and hours
of our podcast. Yeah,
because
well,
that is where we really dive into a lot more in-depth, maybe theoretical approaches to a lot of stuff like this, how to position yourself, how to market yourself, market segmentation, a bunch of stuff like that. Insights from people like planners and photographers who refer people, people in the high-end market, guests that work exclusively in the high-end luxury market. So I would recommend they go watch that.
I would also tell them, I would say, this is not a rip on the couple or anyone involved. My opinion is this film is going to be a little polarizing. And this couple is a little bit polarizing. I think like when you sell a film to other people, they have to be able to see themselves in it.
Yeah.
And
like this will work great for another couple that's like there to party and like have a great I mean, everybody's there to have a great time, but you know.
Literally, it's not fair, but people can't see past what their eyes are seeing and see the film. They just see, well, I don't want to get my lips done like that. You know, it's silly. It's how people think. So when you're positioning and you're cutting this together, I would lean into the party side because then I could show it to that type of couple and they would see that I can work with them. But I would be looking for other types of couples to build out my destination portfolio so I could work with a lot of different people.
You know what I would say on top of that, though? Like I said, this is I mean, if you did this for free, you should be making the most out of it, and you should be doing whatever you need to do with this film
100%.
to have it help you. And I do think, like, this couple had good vows. They
Yeah,
had
they're
sweet
good.
moments. I think that you could make a 1-minute teaser that's more hype, and you
Mhm.
can make a 1-minute teaser that's more
Emotional,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm throwing no shade at
but-
this couple at all, by the
No,
way.
no.
They're great.
I mean, we would say the same thing about somebody else who was like, there was no dance party. Like, that wouldn't, you know, if it was this very emotional, reserved couple with no dance party, they never let loose, you couldn't show that to this couple and say, you know, oh, you should hire me. Because they'd be like, no, we want like a party, you know, same, goes both ways.
Good thing is, it is a target. There are couples that are like people in Miami, you know, who are just exactly the same way, and they're looking for somebody who can hang. So show that you can hang.
And new Odyssey's in chat, so thanks for joining, Harry, and hopefully you found that helpful.
Yes, and he really appreciate it. And I love that you did it for free. I love that. Like, that's hungry.
Building
Stay hungry.
portfolio
Keep
and-
going. Final film.
All right, this is from Goron, who I believe is in chat, or at least was. And this is the Sony A7 IV with the 50, the 35, and a DJI Mavic 3 Classic. Cloudy day. A couple didn't want a long photo shoot with them. Looks like they did photo and video.
That's great. This is a really long film, so we'll see
We
how
are
it goes.
going to be jumping around.
Sick.
I do like symmetry. I do like nice light.
Good color.
So, und dann habt ihr es jetzt heute geschafft. Ihr seid verheiratet. Nur
That's
jeder,
weird. I
der
wonder how they
verheiratet
got that
ist,
effect.
weiß, ihr habt's noch gar nichts geschafft.
This is good shooting.
Heute geht jetzt erst richtig
Wait,
los.
which effect?
There was like a almost like a look right there. Like it's like a it's staying, and I wonder if they just keyframed that. It's like in focus on her face, and everything else is blurred out.
Yeah.
This is little. They got some sculpting with time influences in this one. You should come to our live
Let's
stream
come
next week. What language is this?
I'm going to guess based on. Oh, it's a .com.
No.
and it's-
Excuse me, sir. Would you like the chicken or pasta?
Oh, he's getting us with ad revenue.
No. Turn that off, dude. Nobody. That's gonna.
We're turning this
No,
whole
I'm just
show
gonna say
down.
something. If you're watching this, if you have a wedding film company, do not have ads on. You do not want anyone to leave your channel. You want everyone watching your stuff to watch it. Ads are annoying. They suck. I wish I didn't have to have them on in this channel, but we have to have some revenue. You need people to buy your wedding films. You don't need the piddly $50 a year you're going to get from people watching the ads. So turn it off. If you're watching this, and unless you're having like 2 million views per video, in which case go ahead, you might as well turn it on. But anyway, yeah.
He says there's no ads.
Yeah.
Maybe this is copyrighted music and YouTube will implement their own ads if you're not licensing your music.
I don't know. Either way, I'm just saying in general, monetizing your channel, I don't think you should do it as a wedding filmmaker. Okay,
We already saw this shot. No.
yes, and I don't like this song at all.
Well, we need to jump around anyway, so.
Yeah. So I'm moving forward.
That's cool.
Oh, well, you never guessed the you never finished guessing the language.
Oh, well, he put it in chat.
Oh, what is it?
German.
German, okay.
Goran, was the tilt shift lens or done in post?
Whoa.
I have a guess.
Look at this. This looks crazy. Look at the way the camera like locks on the officiant.
Like with her head.
Yeah, that's wacky. I wonder how they like. There's a lot of like.
There's a plugin for that. I'm pretty sure. Like a motion tracking plugin thing.
Okay, I'm gonna skip past all this because
that's a nice shot.
I just see a lot of great shooting in this. This is so pretty.
That's a nice shot.
Oh man. Oh, you're doing photography too? Okay. Okay, this right here is the exposure they should have done in the last video, though.
Oh. In the Mac Tulum one?
Yeah.
I think that one was more harsh.
It was probably more harsh, but this is what I would have kind of went for. Is like underexposed foreground, try to pull in some background. This bride has good energy, man. All right, let's go forward a little bit. We're just going to go to this nighttime stuff. That's fun. I want to see how that moment comes in, Bobby. Inappropriate. What if kids saw them doing that, Bobby? Okay, so I think let's talk about this one, because I think, there's one major problem, which is we don't speak German. So it's a little bit hard for me, but I think there's one advantage to that, Bobby, which is we can come from the perspective of like, because I don't think you should have to hear a story in a wedding film to kind of get a sense of the story. I think like I
think you can get
I don't consider what they say to be storytelling in wedding filmmaking. I feel like that word is used interchangeably. Like, what about the story? And the person means, what about the sound bites? And to me, story is just the journey you take someone on. And it can be visual, and it also an audio is a part of it, sound bites are a part of it. But a lot of it, like, if you have to listen to everything someone says and that's story to you, I think like that's not, you're a visual storyteller too. So I think we can approach it from that side. It is all of the above, but you can make a good story. You can make a good story without audio. You cannot make a good story without good visuals and coherent visual storytelling. So we can review it from that perspective. So I'm going to start. First of all, the drone work is great. and very tasteful, beautiful, and leveraging the environment. A lot of this type of stuff is great. Like the colors are mostly great. I loved how wide they shot a lot of the time. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of really, really excellent very tasteful. That's what I'm going to say. Very tasteful. And, you know, I would hire this shooter.
Yeah.
I would hire this shooter. I'd be like, yeah, I need them to cover it. But would I let them edit the film? That's the next story for the next part.
So things that I loved, we pointed out, some of the drone stuff really symmetrical. I really like that. Some of the use of light in the bridal prep specifically,
really pretty,
really nice. Yeah, just definitely has a good grasp of like camera and just getting pretty shots. Like there were some shots where I'm just like, yeah, it was fine, whatever. But there were plenty of shots where I was like, wow, that was just really well executed. I think I pointed a few out. The drone work, like you said, the symmetrical top-down stuff I really liked. Yeah, and granted, I mean, this is a 10-minute film, and with that, I know we did see some shots a few times, but like there was a lot throughout. It's not like you front-loaded, like here's my 7 good shots, and then it was a bunch of bad stuff, right? There was a lot of good coverage throughout the entire day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Knowing what you're working with is always important, and like working with, like, I think the biggest thing I see with a lot of filmmakers is they don't seem to know what's interesting about what they're doing. And this filmmaker, I think, knew what was interesting.
Yeah.
And also, that seems like a really small event in terms of attendees. And that can be hard to do, and I think they did that well, too.
Yeah, true. I will say, you know, we always, Jay, I think, like, it's an EU event, or it's whatever. I assume this one was in Germany. But, like, weddings are definitely different.
Oh, yeah. We try. I'm trying not to comment too much on the format,
like,
for sure.
I don't know, yeah. But, yeah. I would agree with all that. But flip side then, Jay, let's do you want me to talk about the things that I would change? Because mine are pretty simple, and I feel like you're gonna go.
You go first. You go first.
Okay. So my 2 things, while I think a lot of the shooting was really good, there were shots that stood out because so many shots were good. And I think one example is that one right there.
Yeah,
you have I like where you're trying to do a lot of movement, right? You're tilting down, you're moving forward, you're pushing in, whatever. And sometimes it's like a tilt down, a move forward, and we're doing a little rotation, right? The ones that really stood out to me, both on the gimbal and handheld, were just they were just too fast. You were trying to do too much. So that was one thing. I think it's like you could tell your intentional shots, and you're like, well, I'm just gonna try this. And then the only other thing I would say, Jay, like, the tilt shift works sometimes, but it was overdone. I don't think we need it in everything. I don't think we need it in a speech, personally. I don't think we need it in...
This is very a lot of the shooting in this is very much A-cam gimbal person problems, which are like you're on gimbal as your A-cam the whole day. People who are doing that are missing focus all the time because it's not positioned that well, and it's easy like to mess up. And you can see like they're like shooting the couple, and like it's focusing around and racking. And I think this person needs to implement a more consistent coverage strategy for their ceremonies and use their gimbal as a more supporting camera.
Creative tool.
Yeah, creative tool. I don't think you should. Oh, come on.
This is not sponsored by Squarespace.
No, we hate you, Squarespace.
But if you want to be a sponsor of this, reach out and we will no longer hate you.
Yes, that's true. Anyone who pays me, I like. And anyone who doesn't, I hate. That's just kind of how it goes. So I think like I don't think anyone should be gimbal A-cam. I think gimbal is always to me a creative tool and a supporting camera.
Yeah, it's an intentional.
Especially during coverage like this. So that's one. Yep. B, I agree. I think not just that effect, but a lot of the post-production effects are too strong. You could see them. They stand out. Sometimes I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know it looks funny.
Yeah.
And I know it's because...
like you pointed out the thing like kind of what seems like following the pastor's head. And I saw that, and I was like, same exact thing. I was just like, huh, like something
Something is
I couldn't
off.
figure out exactly what it was, but I was like, I feel off.
Yeah, something's off. And again, like in terms of story, I don't have a ton of critiques because I don't know what they're saying. The only thing I will say is, I don't know why it felt needed to be so slow paced.
Maybe to hit 10 minutes.
Yeah, like 10 minutes, like they didn't do anything. They got ready. They got married. They had a portrait session. They had a little party. There was nothing about it that made it 10 minutes, and I think this, from a visual standpoint, would be way better.
My gut tells me this is I don't know if you call it, it's not cultural, but whatever. It's like what's expected, right? That it would be, you would be one of few, and you would have a hard time selling if you were saying, yeah, I make 3-minute highlights. They'd be like, well, this guy, like everybody gets 10 minutes. You know what I mean? That's my guess.
Sure.
Which might be true, but tough to do when, yeah, like you said, there's not, I mean, nice day, nice couple, good looking couple, good energy, you know, some guests, kind of all the aspects of the day, whatever, but not a whole lot going on.
Didn't need it. Not critical of it. It just didn't need to be that long.
No. Yeah.
And then the last thing that I'll say is the gimbal work throughout the film is very uneven. There's great stuff and there's really weak stuff. And I think
it makes me think it's different people.
Steppy, very steppy. Like you can see all the steps, which is one of my biggest critiques of gimbal operation, is when you can really see the person walking.
The balance.
Your goal is to try to like smooth it out best you can. And then kind of like, so that's kind of important. But I also think, and the final thing about the gimbal work is that lens choice, that's sick looking. The lens choice that they had, sometimes I could just, the lens, just like the edge distortion on the lens was really, really, really profound. And sometimes it was cool, like you're pushing in. When you have a really wide lens like that has that much distortion on it, moving forward and backwards can look pretty okay. But once you start rotating, you can see that the lens is round and it almost is like a little nauseating to the viewer, and really, really almost has like a fisheye effect, like right there. And I don't find that to be pleasing at all, and I find it looks amateurish. So I would say if you're big into like a lot of orbital moves, which it seems like you are, first of all, they need to be done a lot better. They're very, very fast and a little abrupt and a dabble to you. And second of all, I think like you need a little bit of a maybe 16 to 35 with a little zoom on it or something so it's not so fisheye looking.
Yeah, I'm curious what it is, because I mean, I totally understand you don't list every lens used, but they only listed the 50 and the 35.
Maybe it's just like a really distorted 35. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Sony 35.
Doesn't look like a 35 to me, but I could be wrong.
I would agree. Like some of those room shots, I don't think they're 35. It's got to be wider, right?
They look really wide. I would say that's an 18 or 16.
Yeah. Well,
that's it.
Hopefully you found that helpful, Goran. It was some really beautiful shots. So keep doing your thing.
Yeah, that's a great cinematographer.
Love what you're doing. And yeah, hopefully some of that. Okay, second shooter was on a 20. So I think we could probably tell you which shots were your second shooter and which shots were you, which is maybe something to work on or try to
let's
tighten
close
up.
the entire stream with this quick conversation about second shooters.
All right,
Bobby,
hit me.
You have a second shooter.
Sometimes.
Well, in this scenario, you do.
Oh,
so you got a second shooter, and they shoot your stuff, and it looks mostly nothing like yours.
Yeah.
What up with that? You gonna use it?
No. I will say this. Okay, Grant, Fitzgerald Films is in chat. He will second shoot for me. Great shooter. His style matches with mine. There are a couple people who are also sometimes in chat. I don't think they're in there today. Solid shooters. Their style, they can shoot along the lines of me. Everybody's different, right? Even then, I'm always leaning towards my footage, and it's just the reality of it. Like a lot of times a couple wants, like, second shooter's an add-on for me. So a couple wants a second shooter, I'll add one on, but it's more to fulfill their desire for a second shooter for whatever reason they want that. And there are certainly times where it's really important.
Yeah,
for me
like
to
you
have a
need
second
the
shooter.
coverage.
Yep. There are times where I need that. There are times where I tell a couple, you need to hire a second shooter.
Yeah.
And there are certain times that I'll be very specific with my second shooters. Like, I am relying on your footage for this part of the day.
Yep.
I need you to shoot like a lead shooter. I need you to do your thing. But when it's both of us shooting, really what it is a lot of times for me is a cutaway angle or a safety angle or something like that. That's what it ends up being.
Like that shot right there is not good. Like the first beginning part is kind of good. I would have slowed it down, stabilized the crap out of it, but it's like bouncing all over the place, and you know, like you could see it warping, and like it just doesn't. It really takes away from the really good shooting.
Yeah.
And it's tough to establish a visual identity when you have things bouncing around like that.
Yeah.
So
yes, Grant, your stuff is very usable, and also very you are looking for the same things as I am, which I always appreciate. But let's hear Jay's side of that conversation.
So I work with a lot of shooters.
Yeah,
my
you have
company,
a very different setup.
My company, we have sometimes 8 to 10 weddings in a day.
Yeah.
In the middle of the summer, a big thing, and we have 3 brands: a more low-key brand, a middle tier brand that's around 6,500 average sale, and then we have Huxley Film, which is probably around 12 to 14 grand average sale. Luxury, that's me and Jared. We always have a rule.
And you never use Jared's shots, right?
No, we use a lot of Jared's shots. but we have a rule, and we say it all the time. We say we're only as good as our worst shooter. And so the films that the brand building is built around our worst shooter, because that's what we can consistently sell. Like that means I can send
that kind of makes sense though in being a I don't know what you call it, a team model or whatever, where like you aren't at every wedding, right?
But here's what I'll tell you. The same concept works in your own film. You're only as good as your worst shot. Like the film will be defined by the bad shots and the good shots, but a lot of the bad shots. And so if you put in bad shots that don't reflect the film from your second shooter, that don't reflect your style, you're telling the next customer, this is what we're going to do for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't want that, don't put it in.
Yeah. Well, I would say, to defend myself, I am not bringing anybody as a second shooter that is not somebody I trust to shoot like me. But just that even with a second shooter, I find myself leaning on my own footage for the most part. So
yeah, I mean, it's really about what are you trying to do? Like I would say this, as a team leader in this situation, why are you both on gimbal?
Yeah.
You don't need to both be on gimbal. I actually would say, no, you're not allowed to use a gimbal. I'm doing the gimbal.
Especially with some of the shots that we've seen, I would be like, you know what's a really safe bet, Jay, always? You give us, I mean, maybe you'll disagree. If I have a shooter that I'm like, oh, I don't know, whatever, some of the stuff didn't work, like give them a 70-200 and a monopod or something, I don't know, whatever, and there are plenty of shots shot on a 70-200 that look better than if they were shot on a 35 or a 50. You know what I mean? Just because it's compressed. And
and also it's a different type of look.
And it's like, and it's cutaway shots and like,
it adds something to the film that is missing.
Yeah.
And like I look at it and go like that to me is what a second shooter is for, is adding things to the film that we're missing. I don't need 2 people shooting crap on a gimbal.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also somebody who shoots wide a lot of times inherently. I love my 16-35, and so
I heard Jake and Nate from Runaway Vows talking about this the other day, and it's pretty, it's straightforward. No, actually, I signed up for one of their free classes just to see what
master class.
I don't know if it's a master class. I am a master. Jake and Nate are masters, and now I'm a master. But they, they explained their portrait theory, and it's something that we've always done, and so which is, the basics of when you're covering an event, wide, mid, tight, wide, mid, tight, wide, mid, tight. And I think breaking out roles throughout the day, saying like, hey, I need tight stuff from you. Can you give me some tight stuff? Oh, when you're shooting the groom though, I really need it on a wide lens. Like just being really intentional with what you need out of that shooter.
So much of a good second shooter is, of course, the second shooter and them knowing their gear and their skills and whatever. And so much of it is, as a lead, being able to communicate what you need.
Yes, yes. So I would encourage you to be the gimbal guy, because your gimbal work is great. And when you hire other people or bring other people on, be a little more, like, don't be afraid to be the expert and be the boss. Tell them what you need and get it out of them. Yeah, it's your film. It's your brand. It's not to say this shooter sucks or something like that.
No.
But it, I think, doesn't really match your style, and your style is great.
I would almost argue it's because your gimbal work, for the most part, is very good. A lot of it. And a lot of your shots are so good that the other shots can stand out.
Yes. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yes. Hope you found it helpful. You're quite welcome for reviewing. Thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to our members. We love you.
Don't forget about next week, everybody.
Yes. We are reviewing films with Alex Douglas of Sculpting with Time. In our opinion, and the opinion of many, one of the best filmmakers, wedding filmmakers in the game to ever do it.
One of the best to ever do it.
Just mind-blowing visuals and storytelling, and also just a really great guy. He's going to be sharing one of his films, a recent film, possibly a debut. We are unsure, but
I'm unsure.
Certainly cool and recent. And then we'll be reviewing your films. That will be next week's episode. So bookmark it now. Tell your friends. Tell your, I don't know, whatever, family or whoever you want. And we'll see you next week. You can start submitting films now at the link that I will post right here in the description. Or I mean in the chat 3 times. There you go. And we'll probably try to get through as many films as we can next week. So it might be shorter or something like that. But definitely submit your films if you want Alex to help review it. Consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. Make sure you're subscribed, of course. And I think that's it. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
See ya.